In this video, I'm going to show you Litera Compare. So we have quite a few different ways that we can open our files for comparing, um, and it will fit around most people's workflows. So we're working from Outlook, and in this case, we're in the Litera ribbon, which you can get to on here, and we can compare our attachments. And what this will do is it'll pop up a box and it will allow us to select our original document and our modified document. Or if we're just looking for one to compare one of the documents, we can do just the one document on here and then select the other side, the original document or the modified document from somewhere else. Once you've selected both your files, clicking OK will open the application, and if you have it set to run automatically, it will do that. Alternatively, we may be in Word and we have a document open that we wish to compare to something that we'd previously worked on, just to see what the differences are between those. So again, we can come from the compare button and click and compare the open documents. Alternatively, if we're in Litera Compare, we can come off to our local file store and pick up a document from within here. We can go off to the document management system, of which we support NetDocuments, iManage, SharePoint, OpenText. So there's quite a few there, and there is others as well. And you can click on these and you can bring in documents that you want to. So for instance, if you're selecting from a document management system and it's something that's got multiple versions, we can select the latest version here, and then we got the drop down here, so we can actually then pick any of the previous versions that we've got, so we can run multiple comparisons between our documents. Alternatively, we can select our documents, we can right click and compare with Litera Compare. If Compare isn't already open, it will open it up, and again we'll run your comparison if you have it set up to auto compare. Or we can drag and drop our documents onto the ribbon. So if I grab my two documents, drop them on there, that will run my comparison for me, or put them in there. I can switch them around if I need to, and then I can run my comparison of my documents. Once I have my red line open, you'll see that we've got the red line in the center of the page there. We have a list of all of the changes that have happened within the document over here, and they are hyperlinked. So if I was to select something in the change panel, it will highlight that over here on the red line. Alternatively, if I'm in the red line and I select change within here, it will highlight over on the change panel. If we are using a different layout, we do have options for different kinds of layout. So we can go to a layout where we can see the original and the modified. Alternatively, we may wish to sort of have a side-by-side view where we can have the original and the modified in separate tabs here that we can work with. But again, if we're clicking on a change within here, it will take you to where that changes in the original, the modified, and also on the other panels here. There is also some right-click functionality within the red line itself. So I can select change, I can right-click, I can accept that change if I wish to. If I was looking to search for that particular phrase or even a single word, I can do that, and that will open up the search tab, which is over here, and allow me to see where this text is appearing. So in this case, it's appearing in the red line or the original. So I can quickly flick to the original in that way, and we're then just reverting back to the red line and the changes. The other tab that we have on here is the summary. Now this is just going to give us a quick look at the name of the document and the types of changes we've got and how many there are within there. If you wanted a fuller report, we can get that from the View tab, and we can see a change report here. Or alternatively, from the render sets, we can add this to the bottom of our comparison. We can add just the summary, or we can add the full detail as well, which pretty much gives you the list here. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what functionality you do have on the ribbon, and how this can help you as you're going through. So if you've previously compared something, there is a history of everything you've compared here, so we can quickly go back and recompare our documents again. You can also clear that history as well from the drop down on the buttons to the left. As I mentioned, the switch button will switch the comparison round. And if you do choose an alternative document to come in here, we then can get the option to either compare it, which would close down what we've got open, compare in a new tab, which will leave the existing comparison open, or we can have a one-to-many comparison where we can compare one original document with up to 5 modified documents, giving us a red line for each of those comparisons. So we'd get 5 red lines if we was using the full 5 documents there. We also have the ability to change what we're comparing and how we're comparing it. So we use the styles here. So you can have your corporate styles, which you can just set up so that the admin only can modify those. And then if someone wants to have their own personal styles, if you want to allow people to be able to do that, then you can allow they can set their own up here. So for instance, I compared with the default style, but if I go and select a different one, this one I've enabled moves and change numbers on the actual red line. I can select that, I can come and I can compare in a new tab. That will run my comparison again for me. Here we can see now we have our numbers down the side of the page. These can be, you can select whether you want that to be in the left margin, in the right margin, or actually appear after each change so that you can reference that based on the numbers here. And in this particular one, there will be a move. So if I scroll down a little way here, we can see now that the moves are highlighted in green. I can click on those and I can see where I have my moves of text. We can also set up to compare images, and we can do this just to either identify if there's been a change to an image, or we can actually go down to a pixel by pixel level. So if I highlight, if I select this one here and we look at the original and we look at the modified, we can see that the change is there between the two charts. And if we look at that actually in the red line, we can see this one's been deleted. This is the new one on the modified document. Also, the ability to compare within tables as well. That could be you've got an embedded Excel table, or it could be a Word table. It makes no difference. We can still compare those as well. Some other kind of things that we can do in here is if I show you the options, we've got a few options here, so we can compare space changes, Excel tables, as I said, Word tables, headers, footers, and you can turn this on and off. And it's the same with the images, so pixel by pixel or character level comparison. We can also compare formatting. It may be sometimes you need to just check the formatting of a document, and we can see how it's changed within that. Also things like comments, fields that you've got within there, and if you're running a Word to PDF comparison, then in some cases what you would want to do is convert the bullets and numbers to text, and this will just stop you getting false positives, but based on the fact that you've got word numbering being compared to text numbering that would be in a converted PDF document. The change numbers here, we can, as I mentioned, we can add the change numbers in, we can choose where we want to put that, and we can even change the color of the text. And then we get some further redline options here where we can include the summary report, the detailed report. If we're only doing the change pages only, we can do that as well. And then we can select what author we want to be for our track changes if we're going to output the document as a track changes document. With these, you can also create, as I said, create your own, and you can base it on an existing one as well. And then carrying on further across, there is a few session options which just similar to the render sets, but they're only valid whilst you're running your current comparison. And then we've got some navigation buttons here to allow us to jump between our changes, go and find different ones, zoom in and zoom out. We've already mentioned the layout button. And then the last bit is if we need to save off our red line or email our red line to someone. So we've got some options here. So if I come in to do my save, I get the option here to save a variety of different options here. So we can see I've got original, modified, redline, and track changes. I can save them locally, or if I've opened them from the DMS or I want to save them to the DMS, I can also do that as well. If I'd already started to accept some changes to allow me to create my next version of my document, when it comes to, again, the saving option here, I now get a revised option here, and this will, anything that I've ticked will be accepted as changes for the next version of my documents. It's very similar with the email side of things, so we can attach our red lines straight to an email ready to be sent out. We can pick which documents we want to add into that email, and we can select the format of those documents as well. You can have this predefined, so if you know that you always want to send a track changes version of a document, it can be pre-ticked. If you change your mind, you can just untick it. We can zip up the file, and then we can click OK, and this will open our a new email, attach the files that we're going to be sending, and just leaves me with the addition of adding my recipients and any body text that I have. So that's a quick look at the word comparison. You can do a PDF to PDF comparison, you can do a Word to PDF comparison, and it'll all open up in the same application. It has built-in OCR just in case we're bringing in a scanned document that we want to be able to compare, or a PDF document that we want to compare, and it will recognize multiple languages within the OCR software that comes as standard in here. When it comes to running PDF comparisons, we can do either a PDF to PDF or a Word to PDF comparison. So I'm going to start my Litera compare, and I'm going to drag my Word document up onto here and my PDF document up to here. Let me make sure they're the right way round, switch those round. So we have our Word document, PDF document, and now I'm going to compare those. During this process, if we need to, we convert documents to Word, or if they need OCR, then we will OCR them at this point before displaying the comparison. And as you can see, now we have our comparison on the screen. So it's in exactly the same format and the same functionality that you had previously when doing the word-to-word comparison is available within this. So that will cover your PDFs. And then when it comes to being able to save, you get the same options that you had previously, and also with your emailing you get the options here for a docx, PDF, and PDF-A options there as well, including track changes and just to change pages only. The other way that we can do this is if we're coming out of here and we're going into just running a comparison on 2 PDF documents, we get an additional screen that pops up now, and this gives us a couple of different options. So if we choose the red line option here, this will open it up in Compare for Word, as we've just seen. If you choose the page by page comparison, this doesn't do any conversions on the PDF documents and will allow you to quickly compare complex PDF documents. The difference being is this one doesn't have as many options, and because we're not converting or the PDF documents, then we can't actually insert the changes into the document. So that's why we put the overlay on there. But clicking on an area where you've got the overlay will actually highlight the changes over on the left hand panel here, still enabling you to see the changes that have happened within your documents. And again, when it comes to the saving, you get less options here. You still can do all the saving, so you just get the red line option here, and when it comes to the email, you just get the option of a PDF output on this one. So now I'm going to just run through what the comparisons look like in Excel and PowerPoint. I've run the comparisons previously, so I've got the applications already started. So if we go into Compare for Excel, we can see that we've got our Excel sheet here. We've got highlighted some areas in yellow, and if we look over onto the change panel, we can see that these are formula and value changes. So we've got a formula change within the cell, and we've also got the value changing within the cell. Sometimes it may just be a formula, other times it may just be some text that's changed within a cell, and then we can see that it's a value change there. If we've had things like rows adding or deleting, they will be highlighted in blue or red based on what's been added. And also you can see from the change panel here which sheet we've actually got the change from. So we can see we've got some changes in the summary sheet, there's changes in the receipts sheet where rows have been added to that particular spreadsheet. With regards to the rest of the functionality that you've got here, it works in the same way as all of the others. You've got the ways to be able to save and email your red lines and your documents if you need to. We have styles that we can use which will allow us to change what we're comparing and how we're comparing it. But we do also have tabs which will actually allow us to change some of this as well. So for instance, we can navigate, we can accept and reject changes within our spreadsheet. We can go and find particular changes. We can actually decide whether we're going to be comparing images, charts, or shapes. And we can change the layout as we did in previous comparisons. Other things that we'll be able to do, and it all depends on what you're looking for in your comparisons, is we're able to determine what we're going to actually compare. So maybe we're not interested in formulas, we can turn the formula check-in or the formula comparison off, and just look at how values have changed within the spreadsheet. We can check for images, charts and shapes. We can select whether we're going to be comparing those in here as well, or character level. So these are just like one-off changes to what you're actually seeing on the screen. And then the last tab that we've got here is for doing our report, so we can get a list of all of the changes that have happened within the document, or we can get an audit report for our spreadsheet. So that is a quick look at what the Excel comparison would look like. The next one I'm going to show you is PowerPoint. So within PowerPoint, we've got the ability to see changes that have happened within our work, within our sheets in here, in our slides. So we can see if we've got background changes, we can see if we've got images that have been added or text that's been removed, same as we would do with any other red line. We're also able to check within the presenter notes to see if there's any changes within that. So all of that will be covered. And again, we have the same functionality on the ribbon around render sets, navigation, rejecting and accepting changes, saving and printing out the emails, and emailing your red lines. And we can also change the view. So if we wanted to see the the comments pane, we can see that in here, and we can also have the normal view, or we can look at the slides in the slide notes view, and that's where you would get any notes that would be on your actual presentation. So we can scroll through. I don't think there's any notes in this particular one, but if there was notes, you'd be able to see that here, and also where the changes are as well. So that's just a quick look at Excel and PowerPoint.